talking all about marble, the different varieties, where it comes from, the whitest of whites, and so much more. By the end of this video, you'll learn how to protect it, how to clean it, and how to fix all your problems. Marble is timeless, classic, and oh so beautiful. It immediately elevates any space, but it's also known for being less than perfect. I frequently receive questions about how it stains, etches, chips, and so much more, so I'm going to address that all today. Today, I'm collaborating with my friend Chloe of Boxwood Avenue, who is sharing all the details on her concrete countertops that really add a lot of character and warmth to her home. Don't forget to stop by and tell her I said hello. Marble is timeless, classic, all natural, and so beautiful. You've seen it for centuries, used in architecture of both homes, churches, and so much more. Well, it's also something that you can incorporate into your own home, but with that comes a few challenges, and I'm going to address those today. We have used marble in 2 homes now, and I couldn't be happier. I absolutely love it. But I know it's not for everyone, so I'm going to help you identify if marble is right for you. One of the frequently asked questions I receive is, how much is marble? Well, it varies a lot, not only on the variety that you choose, but where it was derived from the earth in that batch. The whiter it is, it tends to be more expensive. It also varies on the depth you choose, how you choose to have it finished, and your fabricator and local source as well. But we initially chose marble because it was a fairly budget-friendly option to take our tiny kitchen in Leawood, Kansas up a notch. Of course, we didn't have a lot of countertop space there, which also helped out, but we used Mountain Danby. Mountain Danby is actually from Vermont, right here in the United States. That always takes people by surprise because they anticipate that it's derived from the earth in Europe, and of course many of our favorite marbles like Carrara are. But we actually have a lot of marble right here in the Northeast. Danby marble is a bit different than Carrara and other forms of marble because it's a lot more dense, which is one of the reasons I chose it. I love that it actually takes a lot for it to stain, as long as you protect it. You can also remove etching and staining through a super simple tactic. In our first home, we chose Mountain Danby. It had quite a bit more gray in it. When we turned to purchasing marble in this home, we also thought we were going to use Mountain Danby. It's really cost effective, it was really beautiful, and I liked the natural gray veining in it. However, when we went to get it just a few years later, what they were pulling out of the earth at this time, it's a lot darker. There was significantly more veining. So I ended up opting for Olympia. Olympia is pretty white, just very subtle, beautiful gray veining, but it's also twice the price. It literally depends on where it's drawn out of the earth. So if you have one big quarry, they'll say, okay, this is Olympia, this is this one, this is this one, this is Mountain Danby, this is this, and so forth. So what you're getting is just coming out of the earth in a nearby location, but all from the same quarry. I love that Danby marble is less porous. I also love that you can make mistakes and fix them. About once every other year, Chris and I have a heyday fixing our countertops. And I know, again, this might not be for everyone, so we'll get to that in a minute. All marble etches, if it comes into contact with something acidic, like ketchup, lemon juice, lime juice, and so much more. Anything with acidity can etch the marble, which dulls the finish in that particular space. So to fix it, what you use is Comet. It's actually super simple. Once a year, Chris and I pour a bunch of Comet over our countertops, and we put in a little elbow grease and we kind of rub away and remove that top layer and re-protect it. And so then, once again, when it catches the light, it all looks the same and very even. It has a beautiful, even finish. This only works with honed marble. I've only tested it on Danby marble, but I would assume you could use it on marble from Italy as well. However, I would definitely ask your fabricator before proceeding. Now, as I mentioned, we need to protect the marble after it's installed or after it has been rehoned through using Comet. We learned a really valuable lesson in doing that. We actually paid our fabricator $880 to seal our marble. Well, the problem is that they sealed it when it is still wet. I learned after the fact that the stone has to completely dry before being sealed to be effective. So we actually purchased a sealer on our own, seam sealer, and resealed it and have not had any issues since. We reseal it about once a year. It's recommended once every 6 months, but again, we haven't had issues, and it does take a few minutes, so we like to keep that as minimal as possible. But we reseal it once a year. You can either spray it on or pour it on and wipe it on. Either way, it's uber effective, even for oils, though marble is more sustainable to staining from oils than it is from other things. We've had wine sit on it overnight and no problem whatsoever. Carrara marble tends to be about $70 per square foot fabricated and installed. Montclair Danby about $75 to $85. Our Olympia marble was almost $11,000 for our kitchen, and our Mountain Danby marble was about $5,500 for a small kitchen, but it was still 2 slabs. The number of slabs you need also is factored in, because if you need an extra slab, even though you're not using it, you still have to pay for it. Imperial Danby is more than $100 per square foot, as is Olympia Danby. A lot of people want to know how it compares in cost to granite and quartz. Well, granite tends to range anywhere between $50 and $100 depending on which species you choose, and quartz the same, anywhere between $50 and $100 per square foot. One of the things that makes marble so different from quartz is it's all natural. There's no resin added to it. So quartz is often made from an alternative material or using natural materials but adding resin to it. It does make it more durable and more sustainable, but it also takes away that natural effect, and they add in the veining artificially, whereas with marble, it's derived from the earth. I, for one, absolutely cannot get enough of natural materials. However, I understand, again, it's not for everyone. We loved it so much in both of our homes that we actually were brave enough to add it into the girls' bathroom and during our remodel last summer. And honestly, it's worked out rather well. For their bathroom, we chose a polished finish that's shiny when you see it to the eye. For our kitchen, we chose a honed finish because it's a little bit easier to maintain because you can use that Comet trick. You cannot, however, use that on a polished finish. So the etches, it's etched for good and there's no doing away with it. However, you can have it repolished at any time. I chose the polished finish just because it's super easy to clean. They can just wipe it down, and I knew that they weren't going to be working with anything acidic in their bathroom. Now we talked about how to seal marble. Now it's time to talk about how to clean marble. Of course, there are several marble cleaners on the market. However, I just like to use a little soap and water. You'll actually see that on my kitchen counter in nearly all of my videos. Making your own marble cleaner is so simple. I just add a little bit of clear dish detergent with water, and it works like a charm every time. It's subtle and gentle on both your marble, and I'm not worried about what kind of toxins my children are consuming. No matter what kind of marble you have, whether it's Calcutta, Carrara, Danby, or many of the other varieties, I highly recommend promptly cleaning up any oil that includes butter, olive oil, vegetable oil, coconut oil, etc. That does tend to stain marble a little bit more. It just turns it a little darker tinge. So I recommend just giving it a quick wipe up with a little soap and water, and it will take care of it right away, rather than letting it seep into the porous stone. One of the main concerns about marble is that it chips. One of the things you can do to prevent that is choose an edge that prevents that as much as possible. It is not always preventable, and when you're working with pots and pans and things like that in the kitchen, more so than a bathroom, it is sustainable to chipping. I prefer a rather minimal edge called an eased edge. That gives it a nice gentle slope. It's not very noticeable at all, appears very timeless, but it is more difficult to chip. If you think about it, a 90-degree angle is more likely to catch on something and chip off. So that has worked out rather well for us. We've had our marble in this kitchen for over 3 years now, and very minimal chipping. You may also want to consider how you install your sink when you're thinking about chipping. You'll see that I installed ours like this so that we can wipe things directly into the sink. I'm okay with the time and the wear of marble. I think it actually only adds more beauty and character to our home. But if you're concerned about chipping, you may want to consider having your sink installed flush with it so that things can go off, but there will be that little crack there where food can get caught, which is why I avoided that. But it will prevent more chipping around your sink area, or using an alternative material like butcher's block for the area that holds your sink, especially if you have it in an island. It gives a little sense of contrast and also prevents that issue as well. There are a number of edges you can do. However, that eased edge is definitely my favorite for that reason. I hope you've enjoyed this video all about marble countertops. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to leave them in the comments below, and I would be more than happy to address them. As I mentioned before, they're timeless, classic, and only get more beautiful with age. I hope you enjoy them as well. Don't forget to stop by and see my friend Chloe's video on concrete countertops at Boxwood Avenue. I'll link to it in the description below.